Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the build. We are on part 16 of our 350 Refit Enterprise build, so let's get to work. Alright, so I got the hull, secondary hull repainted. It's actually drying. I got over there to the left. And I pretty much have the neck touched up here. I got a little bit of work to do in here, but it's touched up. I could probably remove the masking tape now. And I'm working on some ancillary parts while I let that dry. First thing I did was get the nacelle. When I sanded, I lost some detail pieces in here, so I just made some out of some styrene, measured them against the other piece, which I didn't lose those detail pieces on, and just glued them here. So we're just going to be painting over these, and that'll be good. I want to get those nacelles at least primered today, hopefully. But I've been doing other stuff on ancillary pieces like this right here. We have the base, which we got a little rod here, goes right in there. We won't be using that, but that's it. So I want to basically put in my buttons. I've got my 3 buttons. I've got my center button, which is the main, and a button on the left here. This will be impulse, and a button on the right, that'll be warp. So I've kind of drawn out the circles, at least the size of it. That's not centered, but that's about the size of the circle. And I went in and I measured. It's about an inch square right here, a little bit more. And I centered that off so I know where to drill. And I did the same thing on that side. And this right here, this is a smaller button, so we don't have to drill as much. I'm going to go back in with my Dremel and drilling out these larger ones, and I'm going to go in with the drill bit and drill out the center one there. On the reverse side, since I'm going to have wires coming in from here and here, we're going to have to be drilling holes in these bulkheads here, and this is where the center one goes. I think I'm going to mount my individual cards somewhere in here. I need a blinker card and a flasher card. So one for the strobes, one for the blinking lights that are on the hull and the nacelles. And we'll put those there. Everything will be wired into here, and I'm going to kick it out the side because there's not a lot of room right here to connect the power. So I'm probably going to kick it out on, let's see, the right side over here. And I have to get measurements for that. I don't have the part, the connector part. I had a connector part, but it's not going to work, so I'm going to have to use another AC connector, or DC connector, rather. So I have to get that part and measure that out, but that's what I'm doing on the base. I also got some paint on here, which I'll need to strip back off, at least on these sections. Again, we're going to light these little windows, and I think I'm just going to use a strip on the back or an LED on the back. I'm not quite sure yet. I'll use maybe a 2 mil. I don't want a ton of light in these. I just want them kind of illuminated, not bright. So we'll do that. This thing does have to get painted in a kind of, almost looks like a maroon, coppery maroon. I'll have to look at some screenshots. And I'll have to look at some screenshots to see if there's these bezels around here, or these inlets here, inserts, or the window frames are painted a different color. I don't know if they are. I'll have to, again, look. Still not sure what these are, but they're there. So that is what I'm kind of doing this morning. So I'm going to get to work on this. I get to work on the primary hull too, and I'll be back with some of that. Alright, so I've been working on the primary hull, the saucer. Sanded down my little dome here, my sensor dome. I haven't got the inserts in here. Little plastic inserts that go in all of these. Haven't even touched those yet, but I did get this sanded down for paint. Same thing with the bridge. I got this thing sanded down a little bit. We're going to have to be editing this even more. Got some work done on the lower hull here. I got a hole drilled in for the wires for the planetary sensor. Just pop that baby on there. Now I got a hole for all the wires to go through in the bottom. Got a hole where the neck piece kind of connects to here. That should be more than enough room for my 5 sets of wires to go through there. If not, I can always drill it a little here. I don't want to drill a lot of this because this is going to be the most important connection on this ship, which is the tiny little neck here to the secondary hull. So this little thing has got to hold up this giant saucer and everything I'm going to put in it as far as LEDs and things like that. So I want as much meat on this as I can get. And I will be epoxying this in place. So that's that pretty much. I did sand it. You can tell it's got a nice matte finish. They go through and sand this thing down. I also sanded off little nubs that were on these things because they don't exist. So at each point where those holes are, they are gone. The neat thing about these is these little things, because they have a plastic piece that goes in here, they have a recess, which will be a great mounting point for our SMD. Just right in that little recess, drop it in there, super glue that in. Light mask from behind. That will be nice and easy. That's all 3 of those. And I think that's it for the bottom. That's all I did on the bottom here. On the top, we got a similar story. I went through, sanded the whole thing down with some 300 grit. I haven't washed these yet. I still have to wash them because there's sanding little pieces of plastic that is sanded. I wiped it down, but I do want to give this thing a bath before I paint it. And then after that, go over it with some alcohol before I even think about putting primer on here. But again, we still have these little holes. There's 2 here that are nubs are gone on. And those do have recesses, I think. Yeah, they have recesses back under here, which are nice. So we'll be able to put our LEDs or SMDs in there. Yeah, got the nubs off, got this sanded down, got those windows cut out. You can see the BC deck windows. Unfortunately, these 2 are kind of wonky, but we'll work with that. Got the flash out of our officers' lounge area. I have to do a little bit of work there, I can see, but that is gone. I got a hole drilled in top here for our wires, which will be coming from the bridge into there. I'm going to lift the bridge up. Instead of sanding this down, I'm going to lift the bridge about, let's see, about, get in there, and even all the holes up. Probably about that much. So we're going to have to do some styrene. We're going to have to build some bulkheads and make sure everything lines up correctly. I'm kind of loath to get rid of these things because there's a little bit of neat detail on these, and I want to try to keep that if I can. If not, well, then they go. But I want to try to keep them. So we're going to lift that thing up so we can get light shine onto here, if we can. Stay down. So that is where I'm at with this. Just kind of doing some testing and thinking about all the stuff I have to do on the inside. So I'm going to get back to work. I'll be back in a second. Alright guys, I drilled my holes here and testing the flipper switches. Just got these in place. They're not really in. I could just pop them back out. But yeah, our mains and our impulse and warp. I like that. I like the placement. They look good to me. I still have to drill the hole in the side. Actually, wrong side. Want it there. So now I have to strip the paint off this. I got overspray when I was painting the engineering section. I had it up on the rod here and get a little bit of overspray. You can see it better in the light. Yeah, you can see the speckles. Yeah, it's overspray. I don't want that on there, so I'm just going to take some lacquer thinner and a rag and clean it up a little bit, and then sand this thing down, mask off the windows, and I might be able to light these with light strips. I'm not sure. I'll have to do some tests. So, still have to drill holes in the sides of this bulkhead for the wires. They're not going to be too big. I'm just gonna drill down from here, and I could just hot glue them in place. No big deal. So yeah, that's what we're working on while we're waiting for that paint to dry. And after that's dry, I'm gonna give it a wet sand and then seal it with where do we have it? Here, this stuff. I'm gonna use this stuff instead, this gloss varnish. All I have to do is water this down, and then I can run it through the old airbrush here, and that will be much better than that stupid crap that's in the garbage right now. So yeah, just waiting for that to dry. Those I haven't touched yet, and yeah, that's where we are. Gonna drink some more tea and wait for you right there. So I'll be back in a second. Alright guys, I got this all masked off where I need it to be. You can see all the masks burnished in here. I edged it with 1mm tape, and I went back and I backfilled this with just some of that stuff there, some yellow tape, and then burnished it in. It's important to have a nice burnishing tool like this. This is actually a sculpting tool. I'm pretty sure I stole it from my mom. Sorry, Mom. But yeah, she's got like 300 of these things. Don't worry about it. She might even give it to me. I don't remember. But it makes a great burnishing tool. So just make sure you burnish all of your masks in here. And spray it straight on if you can. That's going to be a little bit of an issue up here with these because I'm going to hit this. I might hit this. So yeah, first thing I want to do is get a light blocking coat on this, and then we'll have to look at some screenshots. I still haven't looked at screenshots for coloration, but we'll get into that. So yeah, I still haven't drilled that hole. But everything else is ready to go on the base. I haven't drilled that hole either. I forgot to show this off. I gotta drill a hole in there. I do have some remnants of the paint, but we'll be doing that with that. We're gonna coat this with primer and see if we need to wet sand. It's not that bad. It's a little just overspray. I don't think it'll show through the several layers of paint I'm gonna put on here. So we're gonna paint this today. I'm working on more prep for the hole. See, got all washed off, and I'm messing around with our sidewalls here. What I'm doing is I'm measuring out where I need to cut out where the windows are, and I got that right there. That's the those are the circular windows right here that go there. And then I'll need to do a little bit more for these. These are actually going to require a little bit more work than that even. But I was messing around here and just trying to fit things into place. This didn't fit so well. I had to kind of do some editing to this one. That goes on. I don't know what goes on here. Goes on here. Goes like that. It still doesn't fit perfectly. The problem I was having is there was a little bit of flash on the inside of these, so I had to cut those down. And I thought I'd put the clear piece in just to see what that looks like. And as you can see, it doesn't look too bad. The problem is, it's hard to show off, but they printed the part number right there. Let's take this out so I can show that off better. The part number is right here. That's the part number right there, right above my thumbnail. That is right in those windows. It does show through a couple of the windows there. These bottom ones. Or this bottom one right here. I think it will show through it. I mean, looking at it again, yeah, the 2, because this is part 207, the 2, the I guess top of the 2 and the top of the 7 are in windows. So we're going to have to build a replacement piece, which is, well, going to be interesting considering that I'm going to have to build some bulkheads because there's individual square windows and they didn't put that in the plastic because probably because it would bust off in the molding process, which is fine. But I'm just going to have to measure these windows out and add little pieces of sprue in there. So that's one thing I found. I mean, even if you're lighting this kit up, I would advise not using this piece. I'm building something behind it. I'm saying if you're just, you know, well, I guess if you're lighting it, you're going to sand this down for diffusion, so that won't matter too much. But if you're going to put an interior or the rec deck, because that's the rec deck windows, if you're going to want to put those in, I would not use this piece. The other thing I ran into is this thing. This is your window area for our officer's lounge, which fits in there decent. Doesn't fit in there too bad. I'd have to do a little sand. I'm not using this one either. I'd have to do a little sanding to make that proper. But the problem I have with this, let's see if I can show this off. Let's put a white background on that, or some kind of background. Trying to find a background. What about a blue one? No, that's not going to show. I have a white background. It is very hard to show. But there is a tiny piece of something right there. The upper right hand corner. You see that little blemish? That is not on the outside of the plastic. It's not on this outside. It's not on this outside. I thought it was. That is in the plastic. There is something trapped in the plastic, and you will definitely see that. It's not super big, but if you look close to look inside the officer's lounge, which you will do, you'll see that. It looks like a little schmutz. I'm not sure what it is, but it is definitely in the plastic. It's not on the front. I couldn't fingernail it off, and yeah, if I look from the top, let's see if we can show that off. It's the same color as my finger, but if we look from the top, there we go. You can see it right there. As you can see, that's suspended in the middle of the plastic. So we're not going to use that either. So I'm going to continue to put these sidewalls on, mark them off where they need to be marked off, so I can get to cutting these big old chunks of plastic off. Woohoo! Alright, so I went and I sanded all this down, and then I buffed it a little bit to smooth out even more. So this is nice and smooth now. This is nice and smooth. I didn't clear coat it, and I'm not going to clear coat it because when I put the neck in place, right here, I'm going to more than likely have to putty this edge here and this edge along here, and for sure this back here. So we're not going to clear coat it because we're just going to be repainting this anyways. What I want to do now, though, is get these edges here painted, and also these vents. There's a vent up here and on the other side, and then there's the two vents along this side. There's one here and then one up here. So for the edging here, I'll be using a French blue, and for the vents, I'm going to use the same blue I used on the neck, which is this wildflower blue. And that is this color here. Because those vents are a little deeper blue, at least in my eyes, they are a little deeper blue than this here. So I want to get this masked off. And instead of taking this whole roll and wasting it on this entire hull, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take saran wrap, and I'm going to saran wrap the hull, and then saran wrap around here. I'm going to use tape around here. I'm going to use tape on the actual nacelle pylons themselves. But for the rest of this, in here and around the bottom, is going to be saran wrapped, and then I'm just going to take some tape and tape that in place. The edges here will be nice because you can see there's a very deep panel line, so I should just be able to put tape along here and my X-Acto go back and cut that. And there's a nice panel line right down here too. So that'll be nice to get masked off, nice and easy. Little booger up there to take care of. And the same thing with these. These have nice defined line. They're fairly deep details, so just I could tape these off and then just go back in with the X-Acto and cut out what I need to. And same thing on this side too. So that is the plan. I'm going to get some saran wrap and get to work on this. Alright, so we have our edges painted and our vents. As you can see, we got a bunch of touch-up to do on these. Not too bad, just some of the edging wasn't properly masked. These aren't too bad. You can see you got the black in there. Have to do a little touch-up on the black. And same thing on this side. Got the blue and the black. Got that back there. Not too bad. I've been taking off masks. You can see this main mask here. The one in the back. I can maneuver this whole thing around. Took off those. You can see I've got a little bit of work to do there. Looks bad now, but we'll clean that up. I still have to take off the masks on those windows or the tractor beam or whatever this is up here. I haven't done that yet because of all the work I have to do back here. I did take that mask off just to see how the fantail turned out. It's right there. I'll put it back on. See, those black lines didn't turn out too bad either. I got some white on overspray in there I'll have to touch up, but those didn't turn out too bad. Taking off window masks. Well, the main window masks. I didn't take off the, whoops. I took off these, and you can see we got some work to do down there. Those didn't come off so well. I got a lot of touch-up to do there. These ones, however, not so bad. Still a little touch-up to do along the bottom there, but not too bad. You can still see, we can see through there. Nothing's lit up, but yeah. See, our arboretum is still there. I haven't taken any of these windows masks off, like those up there, or any of the little ones, just in case. And I did take the beauty light masks off, but yeah. So basically, touch-up work I can do at any point in time. Now, however, get this thing straight. I'm balancing it on the deflector array. Stay. Now, we're going to get that onto here. So I'm going to start scraping some paint. Oh, ow. Off of these pegs and off this inner edge. Take that tape off there, take that tape off there. Glue that puppy down. Actually, I want to take the masks off the photons and then glue. So, we're going to get that on. We'll be right back. Alright, we got the neck in place. And it's looking pretty straight to me. Looks pretty good. We have a mighty gap on this side. Not so bad on this side. Which kind of worries me as I keep looking at this going, is it leaning this way? Looks pretty good. That's dead on. So I'll have to see. I'm going to go back in to the gap with two-part epoxy to reinforce that. The back here, though, the back here is kicking up. That little tail section is kicking up, so we're just going to have to sand that down and putty that in. We're going to put some two-part epoxy in there, and then start our cleanup. Lots of cleanup to do on this post-paint. We have the shuttle bay. That's got a bunch of work to do on that. We got our windows that have some work to do on those. But primarily I'm going to be working on this right here. Worry about that paint later. It's detail stuff. I'm going to mask off a lot of it. I'm going to mask off from that grid line. But yeah, that does look nasty. You can see the pegs in there. And guys, I opened those peg holes. I took a lot of material out underneath here, like so much material. There's probably like not even a millimeter left between this and the inside of the hull. I stopped dremeling when I saw the black primer. So I am not sure why that's given me so much trouble there. Again, not too much trouble on that side. It still makes me worried a little. Still makes me worried that that's kicking over this away. But it really doesn't look like it is. It's pretty much dead on there. Yeah, I think I'm paranoid. So yeah, I couldn't get that to fit properly in there is what I'm trying to say. But I'm not too worried. We'll fix it. No big deal. The only thing I would really worry about is of course, this. Because that's going to be dead on for our saucer to be level. And that's what I'm really worried about. It doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look like it's leaning to one side or the other too much. Looks pretty good. Looking at this space in between the back of the neck and the edge of the pylon. We go over here, kind of do the same thing. That looks pretty good. Doesn't look like it's leaning, even though that's at an angle. But yeah. So, next week, short week. We got a Turkey Day here in the U.S., so I will be partaking in the festivities because I love turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes. It's all good. So I don't know how much I'm going to get done, but I'm going to start with this. Hopefully we can get some more work done over here and on our saran wrap. Not on our saran wrap. On our primary hull. I want to start getting these guys in, which means cutting out various sections here. They're all marked off now. All these sections I need to cut out are marked off. I just need to get these guys going on. And there are the sensor bands, the infamous sensor bands, which are going to go bye-bye. I'm going to try to save them, but that is a very difficult task. You can see their little louvers there. We'll try, but don't hold your breath. Anyways, good place to call it for the week. Got a lot done. So I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank all my old subs, all my new subs. You guys are equally rad. And until next time, you all take care.